Buenas a todos, chavales. Otro viernes más con el Star Citizen Live. Que en este caso se llama eh, Los sonidos de una vida en el espacio. Y ahora no tenemos sonido. Los sonidos de una vida en el espacio que no tienen sonido. Esto es impresionante. Vamos a ver un momento. Ya me parecía a mí.
System.
Ahí estamos.
This is my pandemic hair.
Ahí estamos.
Only have the best look of anybody here at the moment.
I'm not at home.
You're not at home. No, you went into the office for this. We appreciate it. Also, I have because I made fun of you. I have to respond with a comment. You have magnificent hair, sir, and I'm gonna get there someday. I've decided to let it grow. We're gonna see how bad it goes. If I come halfway to where you're at, we'll be okay.
This is my pandemic hair.
Let's see. Let's continue counterclockwise and move up to Graham. Graham, who are you, and what do you do for Star Citizen?
So I just got to comment on Bob's pandemic hair because the pandemic must have been going on for 3 years in your life.
Bueno, están hablando en plan de coña y presentándose a los que están ahí participando, ¿no? Y básicamente están hablando sobre el pelo pandémico, o el cabello pandémico, ¿no? Que sería. O sea, que dice, le está echando piropos ahí, discolando al tipo este por el tema del pelo, que lo tiene bonito y todo eso. Magnífico, pero magnífico.
My name's Graham Phillipson. I'm lead audio programmer, so I kind of try to write some code that joins up all the systems and allows us to attach some audio to all the various systems we have in game.
Gotcha. So when other people want to do something, it's like, hey, can we make this? I want to do this thing. Can it actually be made to happen or be possible? That's where programming comes in.
Absolutely, yeah. We are the ones who say no, and then we have an argument, and then we say, oh, okay, then yes, we can.
That's actually a fair. That's actually a fair assessment. Yeah. Continuing along counterclockwise.
A ver un momentito porque dice que bueno que la forma de trabajar que a veces le piden como un sonido y que pues que a veces dice que no puedo hacer ese sonido, pero luego dice que llegan a un acuerdo y que lo acaban haciendo.
To say no, and then we have an argument, and then we say, oh, okay, then yes, we can.
That's actually a fair. That's actually a fair assessment. Yeah. Continuing along counterclockwise. A first timer for Star Citizen Live. Kit, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
Hi, my name's Kit Chalice, and I'm a technical sound designer. I spend a lot of my time hovering over his shoulder, trying to get him interested in some new audio features that need to go in that we want. So yeah, that's a bit of a theme in the audio department.
That's fair.
Dice que es un diseñador técnico de sonido y que se dedica a buscar sonidos o investigar sonidos que puedan incluirse en Star Citizen.
And last but certainly not least, a veteran of Star Citizen Live and inside Star Citizen at this point, Josh, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
Hi, I'm Josh Bell. I'm a sound designer at Cloud Imperium.
All right, now
Kit
is a technical sound designer. You are a sound designer. What's the difference?
Dice Josh que es sound designer y el de arriba es diseñador técnico de sonido. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre un técnico y un diseñador de sonido?
Sorry, what's the difference between technical sound designer and...
Exactly.
Like I'm more creating assets that go into the game for like a specific ship or a weapon or a location, and then not so much of the like mix or the systems to make sure everything runs smoothly or and fast, that kind of thing.
Dice que él es una persona que se dedica más a crear sonidos, por ejemplo, para algo en concreto, como puede ser un arma y tal, pero no trabaja tanto en el apartado de hacer que pues los mixes que se ponen o demás pues funcionen o el apartado técnico funcione de manera fluido, el sonido, etcétera.
All right.
Creative side of things.
Is he right, Kit?
Okay.
Yeah, it's much more working with the sound designers and sort of looking at what they're doing and making sure it all sort of gels together with all the other things that are going on, and also trying to think of any of the numerous esoteric reasons why we can't do something or just try and get a heads up on problems that may happen.
If a tech sound designer is anything like a tech artist, it generally bridges the gap between people who make the content and the people that have to implement the content. It's sort of it's in a relay. It's handing from one to the other and making sure that the transition is as successful as.
Me dice que dices Colando que en realidad es parecido a un diseñador de arte, a un técnico de diseñador de arte, que lo que hace, pues en este caso el técnico de audio, sería de tratar de establecer los enlaces entre el diseñador de sonido y la gente que está implementando cosas en el juego, asegurarse de que todo vaya fluido. Es como una parte más de la cadena en intramedias, ¿no?
Possible. This is a Q&A show. We're taking questions from a number of places. If you are watching the show live and you have questions for the audio team, either design related.
Nos está comentando lo típico de que si tenemos preguntas podemos hacerlas a través de Spectrum o a través de el chat en el directo del programa que estaban emitiendo.
Chat while we're broadcasting live or in Spectrum. If you're watching the show later on YouTube, we went live at 8 o'clock this morning, so you're probably still asleep, and we're envious. We also, as we are wont to do, collected questions throughout the week on Spectrum and let people vote up which ones they wanted to see answered most. So we're going to go ahead and start in with those questions while we start collecting them from the chat. Right off the bat, our most voted up question, we always like to get that right out of the way up front. Are the impressive and diverse flyby sounds expected to make a comeback? First of all, are they gone?
They're not gone. No, they're not gone. They're just mixed differently. They never went away.
Bueno, los sonidos de pasadas con aviones van a seguir siendo impresionantes o ya no van a estar. Y lo que cuando pasa un avión, ¿no? Y además dice, no se han ido, simplemente son diferentes.
It's just, I think I've seen the video that people always show that, like, when are these ones coming back? I've seen that video around, and those sounds are actually still in there. They're just mixed differently, but the difference is back then we didn't really play anything in the build-up to the pass-by sound, and it was just a ship would go overhead, and then the pass-by one shot would play in isolation. Now we play a lot more stuff on the approach for distant ships and atmosphere, all this kind of stuff. So I guess the problem is that I'm not saying we haven't lost something in this transition, but I think we just need to mix it better so that when there is a ship flying directly overhead, you do still get that same experience that you used to. But I think from a gameplay point of view, it's better at the moment because you can actually tell where a distant ship is and if it's coming towards you or not, whereas before.
Está comentando de que anteriormente simplemente tenían el sonido de que la nave estaba ahí y ya está, y que ahora mismo lo que tienen es una progresión a la hora de cuando una nave se nos va acercando, que poco a poco esos sonidos van cambiando. Entonces, que todavía tienen que llegar al punto en el que sí realmente transmita la sensación o dar otra impresión a la nave de cuando estamos ahí volando, pero que es mejor la manera actual debido a que te permite identificar dónde supuestamente debería estar una nave, ¿no? Sabes que si está a lo lejos, pues sonará de una determinada manera.
Oh, that was a lot harder.
Because it was so overwhelming before.
Yeah, there's a bit of a cinematic element that's maybe been lost slightly because we're trying to tell the player more about what's happening to ships in the area. But yeah, it's always that balance between the two.
So would you say it's something worth looking into without committing to one action one way or the other? Because even just looking in the chat right now, there's some folks who like it and it's an improvement, and there's some folks who are like, no, we want the old sounds back. So knowing there's no way to please all people all the time, is this something worth at least taking a look at?
It should be possible to. Well, I'm maybe digging my own grave here. It should be possible to get both. It should be possible with the proper mix and the proper ducking of things and, you know, the context. We should be able to get it so that if it is one of those situations where it's directly overhead and really close, you do get the old experience.
Me está diciendo Discolando, bueno, es muy difícil contactar a ambas partes, aquellas personas que quieren ya el sonido de antes y el sonido de ahora, que los cambios a veces no están a gusto de todos. Y el tipo contesta, el Josh contesta, bueno, no quiero acabar mi propia tumba comentando esto, pero podría ser posible mezclar a las dos cosas, tener un poco de cada.
But in the situations that benefit from what we were talking about, where you can hear them more clearly at distance, and that kind of thing, then we can have that. It should be possible.
Right.
Yeah.
And for those of you unhappy, you can send your letters to Josh Bell, care of Cloud Imperium Games UK. I'm just kidding. No, a lot of support for your statement there in the chat. So I think you're right on. Let's move on to the next question here. Can we expect in the near future that NPCs talk with each other, even if it's using some default conversations? Ambient sounds like whistling when mopping the floor, grumpy noises, saying hi to passing NPCs seems to be a quite basic but immersive task.
Dice que si vamos a ver NPCs hablando, en plan, pues que cuando pasen saluden o hagan algún sonidito o se susurren entre ellos. Si vamos a ver algo de eso en lo que es el juego, que sería algún componente interesante para la inmersión, pero parece también una gran tarea, ¿no?
Yeah, yes. The answer to this question is yes. You will expect these to happen. We've actually recorded a lot of this content already. There's a ton of content that is meant to go in that covers this life aspect of our game. The hard part really is that we've decided to take a really huge undertaking with our behavior and our AI, and created this new system called Subsumption. And it is where we want to do these amazing things with it, but we need to learn to crawl before we run and fly. So there's a lot of the basics that we're really working out with the AI, and so the player interactions are obviously first and foremost.
Me está diciendo en general, notas generales, que han creado el nuevo sistema este llamado Subsumption para lo que viene siendo el comportamiento de los personajes de la inteligencia artificial, digamos, el comportamiento de la inteligencia artificial, y que sí que definitivamente vamos a ver este tipo de diálogos y de conversaciones y de comportamientos en los NPCs que ya tienen mucho pregrabado, ya tienen varias conversaciones grabadas, etcétera, para que esto sea posible, pero que antes tienen que asegurarse de que esa parte de cómo se comportan los NPCs, de los movimientos que hacen, etcétera, pues que sea adecuada, y una vez tengan eso, pues ya podrán ponerse a realizar el tema del audio. O sea, que quieren ir paso a paso, digamos.
So the life element is definitely considered. Don't worry about that. We've recorded a lot for it, but it's going to be coming in a bit later. So definitely expect it as the AI matures and we can get more of that in. You will see that come in. Also, I wanted to add this talks about actual real NPCs talking together and things like that. We also do want to add a layer, and you see this a lot in film as well, where there's just a bit of a murmur, this kind of this background. It's more of actually an ambiance in a background.
Claro, dice que cuando la inteligencia artificial esté más madura es cuando darán el paso de poner el audio. Además también quieren añadir como una especie de murmullo en lo que es algo que podemos ver mucho en el cine, en las películas y demás, de que es como una clase de ambiente, que quieren añadir eso también en ciertas zonas.
It's called Walla, and it's very indiscernible. And we really want to add this into our game as well, but we have we want to do it a bit educationally with considering the fact that this is a live world with not just a bunch of NPCs running around, but also a lot of live players, and we want to actually dynamically change Walla depending on the volume and occupancy and things that are going on in the rooms. And so
claro, dice que además quieren lo que le llaman al tema este de murmullo y todo eso, lo llaman como Walla. Y que además quieren hacer, a esto que le llaman Walla, quieren hacer que sea dinámico en función de las cosas que están pasando en la habitación, teniendo en cuenta también la cantidad de jugadores que pueda haber, etcétera. O sea, que quieren hacerlo de una forma... o sea, quieren educarse para poder hacerlo de esa manera, ¿no? Digámoslo así, es como está diciendo, ¿no?
that
O sea,
also
instruirse de alguna manera para lograr ese nivel de detalle.
is a huge undertaking that we're looking to do, and you will see more of that start to kind of trickle in, and even it's this is all under consideration. Don't worry.
Can you give me an example of Walla?
Walla it's basically indiscernible, so it's like you just background chatter that you can't really pick out words. Yeah.
I just want to see if I can get you to do it.
Rumble.
Vale, ahora cuando está diciendo aquí algo que no se puede distinguir lo que está diciendo es cómo sería, eso sería el Wola, ¿no? Algo que parece que es una conversación, pero que no es, que no es una conversación distinguible. O sea, que parece que es un murmullo ahí. Pues eso es el Wola.
I was the only one that joined in.
Oh,
It's all right.
Sorry.
So Kid is at 3 points. The rest of you are at 1 point. So
Thank you.
we keep score. We clear the score at the end of the show. Good job, Kit. When a ship's systems turn on, all the sounds I usually hear are mostly coming from UI. There doesn't seem to be a noise of the engine turning on, the pipes bringing fuel, air, energy, computers, and lights flickering. Is this planned as well? Right now it's mostly Aegis Combat Assist or Welcome to Anvil or some beeps, but no hardware sound that says, oh, okay, the legs are retracted. This person really wants a lot more sound. They literally...
Vale, que cuando tenemos cuando nos ponemos en una nave que parece que los sonidos no están viniendo realmente de los motores, etcétera, que parece que simplemente pues tenemos el cuadro del panel y que nos dice pues voces de Welcome to Drake Interplanetary Systems o algo de eso, ¿no? En plan de o AX Dynamics y tal, y que dice que el pavo que le gustaría algo más, le gustaría pues que se escucharan más cosas, ¿no?
It just goes on for a while.
Que diera una sensación más
You get the
inmersiva,
point.
más de inmersión en las computadoras, que se escucharan, etcétera.
I've spent half the day banging my head against the table trying to get this to work properly. Two calls to Josh. Yeah. On a
A lot of
basis.
this, yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff, a lot of what we do is built on all of the tech in the game. So as we as a starting point, you know, somebody's designed a ship, and there are a lot of systems that all hang together to make that ship reliable. And then our system kind of sits on the end, kind of representing all those systems in audio form. And very often, you know, there are little sort of niggles here and there that need to be dealt with that aren't so noticeable from any other point of view than audio, because as long as the ship moves when you press go, it's cool, right? But from an audio perspective, we don't always get the messages we want, so we end up digging into the code and finding out where those messages have gone. And yeah, with these systems, we're looking to improve all of this stuff. And again, the mix thing comes into it as well. I think, you know, we got a lot of tech in the pipeline to improve the ability to mix based on events, which is something we don't really have right now. That's quite a long way down the schedule, but it's going to come eventually, and we're going to have a lot more ability to do more emergent things with the mix.
Ok, el tema comenta que las naves en realidad, pues a la hora de volar una nave hay muchos sistemas que están implicados y tratan de representar eso con audio. No siempre eh, pueden conseguir lo que quieren o estarán acertados a la hora de conseguir la respuesta en audio que queremos, ¿ok? Porque tú te montas una nave y ya va, pero también quieres una representación de todos esos sonidos. Pero claro, dice que también tiene la limitación técnica de que ahora mismo pues no está toda la tecnología nueva que va a venir o las características nuevas que van a venir en las naves. Pues imaginaros todo el sistema de energía del que nos estaban hablando o bueno, pues los diferentes fallos en los motores, incluso, o sea, quedan muchas cosas todavía por implementar en el juego. Entonces cuando ellos, que va a ser un largo camino hasta llegar ahí, pero que eventualmente llegará, y que cuando lleguen podrán tener más recursos para poder utilizar eso, para poder pues dar una referencia de que algo está ocurriendo en sonido, ¿no?
Because it's one thing sort of providing a sound for the spaceship starting up, but it's another thing being able to make that take center stage. And additionally to that, we're also looking to improve the way that sounds transfer from physical media that maybe isn't necessarily air. So if you fire up some loud thrusters on the outside of a ship, you want to hear a lot of metal rattles and things like that. And, you know, we have systems designed but not yet developed to allow that.
Cool. I think quite a few of the questions we saw in the chat this week were about sound propagation from the outside to the inside of the ships. So we'll probably see at least one or two more of those before the end of the show here. But as far as inside the ships, will there be an alarm sound inside the ships so other crewmates can hear about hazards? This question came up with several...
Si a la hora de ver algún evento en la nave que necesite una alarma, si esa alarma va a poder ser escuchada por el resto de la tripulación.
several variations, not just alarm sounds, but customizable alarm sounds, like an alarm for fire versus an alarm for decompression versus alarm for intruders, stuff like that. What can we?
Sí, incluso dice variaciones de alarmas, incluso alarmas para, un tipo de alarma para ver que te están abordando, otro tipo de alarma para ver una situación de descompresión o, pues, ¿qué nos pueden decir acerca de
Tell.
eso?
I mean, we'll make the sound for it if it's something design want to do. It's not an audio driven feature really, but we'll make it sound really cool when that's asked for.
Gotcha. That's actually an interesting point. Obviously, the question would seem like it's an audio question because it's a sound that folks would hear. That would be the final deliverable. But the actual
Yes.
origin of a feature like this would actually come from system design, where the system designers have to actually create a multiple alarm system in the ship with different lights and a triggering mechanism and display panels.
Está diciendo que esto puede parecer una pregunta para audio, pero en realidad es una pregunta para los diseñadores de sistema. Está comentando Josh que a ellos solo le llegan las peticiones. O sea, ellos no pueden de repente decir quiero hacer esto, quiero hacer aquello. En realidad, a ellos se les pide necesitamos este audio, ¿no? Necesitamos este sonido.
So like this, when that stuff is done, then they would come to audio as sort of a client of theirs and be like, okay, now we need 3 different sounds and stuff like that. So while it seems like it's something that would originate with audio, it actually doesn't. It comes from system designers. So maybe
Our job, would be more like to, they'd say we need these different sounds to differentiate different kinds of alarms, and our job would be to design that language to be able to quickly tell what's happening.
well, maybe the next time we have the ship team on, we'll pose that question to them. Remember, actually, ship team's coming up July 3rd, if I'm remembering my dates right. So
Vale, dice que esta pregunta podrá ser redirigida al equipo de naves y que parece que el equipo de naves va a estar el 3 de julio. Y bueno, comentaba Josh que en realidad ellos lo que hacen es, se les pide algo y digamos que ellos tratan de, como, por decirlo de alguna manera, tratar de diseñar el lenguaje que transmita pues lo que está sucediendo. Pues en el caso de una alarma es una alarma, en el caso de que haya, pues imaginas un sonido en cabina relacionado con motores, de que hay un fallo en el motor derecho, pues eso al final es un lenguaje que a nosotros nos comunica que algo está pasando ahí, ¿no?
bring that question back up then, guys. Let's see. Next question. Will you work further on entry and exit sounds related to quantum travel? For example, make them as noticeable as in Star Trek or Star Wars.
¿Haréis trabajo en lo que es la entrada en la atmósfera? O sea, la sensación de entrada en la atmósfera. Espera, un segundo. En atmósfera no, en quantum travel.
Next question. Will you work further on entry and exit sounds related to quantum travel?
Sí, o sea, los sonidos de entrada y salida del quantum travel, sorry, se me fue ahí. Y que sean más similares a lo que sería pues, Star Trek o Star
For
Wars, ¿no?
example, make
Como
them
por
as
ejemplo,
noticeable as in Star Trek or Star Wars.
como Star Wars o Star Trek, ¿no?
Yes, we'll improve them at some point. We did a rework of them like a year ago, I think. That improved them quite a lot, but it's definitely still a lot of work to do. And I think there's a few bugs in there as well. That means we're not getting the sounds of other people entering and exiting quantum travel, which obviously is something really cool and something we want. Yeah, it's quite an interesting challenge with our QT mechanic because they've mentioned Star Wars and Star Trek. Like the Star Trek warp jump is like the ship's stationary, then it's an instant into the warp bubble. Same with Star Wars hyperspace jump. It's just like a pretty much ship's stationary or moving at the speed it was, and then space starts to distort and you're in. Whereas ours, there's like a long sort of ramp up where the ship's going very fast but isn't yet in the tunnel. It needs a bit of a different treatment.
Me está comentando de que sí que se mejorarán y que puede que ahora mismo no se escuchen todos los sonidos, que haya ciertos problemas debido a que hay bugs relacionados con el tema de poder mostrar ese audio que hay en el salto cuántico, o sea, en los viajes cuánticos, pero comentan que además habría una diferencia en lo que es tanto Star Trek como Star Wars, que que como que el viaje es mucho más instantáneo, que la nave está parada y de repente salta. En este caso, en el caso de Star Citizen, va como de una forma progresiva hasta que alcanza la velocidad de meterse en el túnel.
Yeah, I'll hold my hand up here and say, the quantum travel exit sound. I've got a bug on me for that. So, yeah, hopefully that'll be improved soon once I've fixed that bug.
Claro, y dice que además la salida del Quantum Travel que tiene un bug y que esperan poder que se mejorará la sensación cuando podamos resolver ese bug, ¿no?
Hi, we'll wait.
Well, do you want me to do it now?
Yeah, no. What's the?
But
I'm sorry.
it also points out that it's similar to the ship startup sounds. There's the problems with the different perspectives that people have on the ships. Are you in the ship coming out of quantum travel? Are you on a space station while another ship comes in off quantum travel to where you are? And then what if 50 ships all exit quantum travel around you in the same place at the same time? There's systems that we need to deal with things like that. So,
what's the oddest thing you've done or used for creating a sound effect?
Bueno, además dice que te necesitan sistemas para poder hacer que cuando tengas otra nave al lado, pues que se escuche también el sonido y demás. Y la otra pregunta es ¿cuál es la cosa más rara que habéis hecho para conseguir sonidos?
I just saw a video online from the Halo team. They were using like ultrasonic recording of an actual Xbox itself. They were actually recording the sounds of the Xbox to use in effects in the next Halo game. What are some of the weirdest things? I guess, Bob, what's some of the weirdest people you've recorded? I don't know. How does that apply to you?
And you say that, I mean,
Me estaba diciendo, discordando con el caso del Halo, que se utilizaron sonidos como deformados o distorsionados de lo que era la propia Xbox, la consola, y que dice Lando que quizás lo más raro que hayan usado haya sido gente, ¿no?
I don't know if I'm allowed to
names,
talk about that.
We'll just say it was Phil.
I've certainly been aware of someone who added rumble to a sound effect by taking a bass drum from one of their favorite heavy metal bands and just stretching this out with a fairly well-known tool called pole stretch. And they sort of just wanted elements of things they were sort of fans of. I'm not going to name who it was or who the song was because we could be sued. No, we couldn't. But that was one example. And certainly recording electronic interference, that was something that we've done quite a lot of. We have quite a big library of that. I don't know how much of that you use, Josh.
Ahí dice que una de las cosas que hizo fue de una famosa banda de rock, pues pillarle lo que es el cacho de la canción y un cacho de la canción y deformarlo y como que estirarlo y utilizar esos sonidos. Y luego otra de las cosas de interferencias electrónicas que tienen también una gran librería de ese tipo de sonidos.
I literally live with our senior legal counsel, dude. You can't make me an accomplice to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've recorded quite a lot of that stuff myself that I think we all use in a lot of the UI sounds. It's like a telephone coil mic and it picks up all of the electromagnetic radiation from things. There's a lot of that in the game. There's a dolphin in the Vanguard toilet.
Wait. Hold on.
There's a seal in the Argo motor.
Vale, dice de que una de las cosas que utilizaron también es cuando acercas un teléfono, pues con un pequeño teléfono acercándolo a ciertas cosas de la radiación que produce y tal y demás. Pues que es algo también, un sonido que también utilizaron. Esas interferencias que hay cuando acercas el teléfono. Y luego también el sonido de un delfín en el baño de la Warden. Ahí ya sí que le está diciendo, discolando, párate, rebobina.
Hold on. Let's put the brakes here. There's a dolphin in the Vanguard toilet.
Yep.
Go on.
I was looking for like a little squeaky element to use in it for like one of the little tiny servo movements or something, and it just happened to work. So it made it in there.
Hey, we
Same
all
reason there's a seal in the Argo Mole toilet as well.
Hey, we all go to the bathroom with a porpoise.
This is true.
I will say one of the most interesting actors I
Hey,
did get
gracias
to
por la suscripción, Ray
record
Roger.
was for this project, actually. That's why I wasn't sure what's been announced, but it was for the squadron and it was for one of our aliens. So really amazing voice, deep voice, and just the things he was doing with his voice. Yeah, it was
Just
really
leave it
good.
at that.
Yeah.
All right.
A ver, dice que en un momento por aquí me perdí, que dice que bueno que una de las cosas que hicieron fue grabar a alguien que tiene una voz muy profunda y demás.
Was for this project actually. That's why I wasn't sure what's been announced, but it.
They made it in there.
This is true.
I will say one of the most interesting actors I did get to record was for this project actually. That's why I wasn't sure what's been announced, but it was for the squadron, and it was.
Vale, dice una de las cosas más interesantes que puedo hacer fue grabar a un actor que es para el Escuadrón 42, que tiene una voz muy profunda, y a partir de ahí pues
For one of our aliens.
utilizar
So,
utilizar
just-
esa voz para uno de los aliens, y que a partir de ahí pues que dice que tiene realmente una voz increíble, muy profunda, y que las cosas que pueden hacer con esa voz que es realmente increíble, ¿no?
Will there be in-ship speaker systems through which we can talk to any passengers, pirates, stowaways, from the pilot seat to the entire ship? Like this is the captain speaking. There's a dolphin in the toilet.
This one actually, I really like this question because my gamer geek is coming out.
¿Dices habrá alguna posibilidad de que haya lo que es pues que el capitán pueda anunciar, o que haya megafonía en las naves, ¿vale? Que haya megafonía en las naves, en plan del capitán avisa de pues eso, de que hay un delfín en el baño, que es lo que ha dicho. Entonces dice que es una de las cosas que le entusiasma mucho como gamer, que es que sí se puede hacer, ¿no? Pero vamos a ver qué nos contesta.
Going, and even a little bit before that, when we were trying to really have the ability for a player to be like, for example, if an NPC is talking on a comms and you're sitting in the room with them, you're going to hear the dry signal of him talking into the comms. But then, if you like, let's say the comms is like to the hangar down below, you also hear it coming out of the PA and into the speaker array below, and hear that. So if the NPC can do it, surely not the player can do it too. We would like to get to that point. It will be a point. I think the really maybe the bottleneck that's kind of stopping us there is we need to talk with UI and get at least a way for a player to actually interact with the PA, obviously. And then we also need to work out, because every ship will need to have that
Speakers.
PA structure, speakers, or the entities and all.
Okay, está comentando de que sí, que van a tratar de llegar a ese punto, y además que si un NPC puede hacerlo, es decir, podemos estar escuchando como un NPC nos habla, y también al mismo tiempo como si nos alejamos pues hay un altavoz en otro hangar del que nos están hablando igual. Entonces que sí, que la idea que si un NPC puede, ¿por qué un jugador no va a poder hacerlo, ¿no? Con las nuevas implementaciones del FOIP y del VoIP y demás, que esperan que sí se pueda, pero bueno, tendrán que revisar el tema de las naves para poder añadirle pues esas entidades, o sea, altavoces como entidades, ¿no? En lo que está hablando en el programación y tal, que le hablen de eso, o sea, que puedan poner eso en las naves para que eso sea posible.
All that stuff to kind of outline what the ship is, especially with our bigger capital ships. I mean, they're like little floating cities, right? So it's we want to be able to isolate different rooms. You like if you are really a captain and you want to be able to talk to your engineering, click on the engineering button, go talk to Scotty, I need more power.
Yeah.
Hostia, qué guapo. Están hablando especialmente para las naves capitales, ¿no? Que son como grandes ciudades, que en el caso de que tú puedas hablar con... o sea, queremos que el capitán tenga la posibilidad, incluso de que se puedan aislar habitaciones, pero el capitán tenga la posibilidad, en caso de que quiera hablar con la habitación de ingeniería, pues que pueda hablar con Scotty y decirle, necesitamos más potencia, ¿no?
It's also hard because through the voice channels. I mean, there's already a ship-wide voice channel, but it's not a PA system in the ship. It is a voice channel through like comms and everything. It's I think what this question is really touching on is that sense that it comes through positional audio in the ship. So like you can, like if you're closer to the speaker, you'd hear it louder. If you're farther from the speaker, you're gone. For me, my favorite ship's the Genesis Starliner, and I absolutely need to be able to do a "This is your captain speaking." from the front, or I don't even know why I would fly it. So I'm with you on this one, Bob. And
Está diciendo Lando, ¿no? Que en el caso además que su nave favorita es la Genesis Starliner y que necesita poder comunicarse con sus pasajeros, ¿no? Que la voz del capitán, this is the captain, o sea, este es el capitán y tal. Y además el tema todo de que haya también audio posicional, es decir, en el sentido de que si tú estás más alejado o más acercado al altavoz, que puedes escucharlo más o menos fuerte, ¿no?
it's definitely it's different than the current in-game comms that are there, but at the same time, because that serves somewhat of that purpose already, this might not be the highest priority at the same time.
Well, it's using the same tech too. I mean, that's the big part of it. It's using that same tech where a character is speaking into a mic that's being and then comes out of a speaker, whether the speaker is your headset, your comm, or the speaker is a PA in a room.
Right.
It's utilizing the same technology there. So that we had to first work on that and get that hammered out, and then now we can work on how do we get it into the hands of the players and through FOIP and things like that. So.
Claro, dice que ahora mismo entiende Discorando que no es una prioridad y demás, pero además comenta pues el colega del sonido que en realidad que es la misma tecnología que ya se utiliza para que nosotros podamos escuchar el audio cuando un jugador habla, pero que simplemente sería cuestión de pues modificar esos parámetros, ¿no? Para que salga del altavoz dentro del juego en vez de que vaya directamente a nuestros cascos.
Being sound people. That's what it says. Being sound people. So congratulations, you sound people. How many of you sing or play an instrument?
I do.
I do both of those things.
Yeah.
Bueno, ¿cuántos de vosotros cantáis o tocáis un instrumento? Y que todos, básicamente.
Yeah, we probably should call them a band at some point. We keep talking about it. And
Really is
happens.
almost every sound person I've ever known does an instrument of some kind.
There's a few oddballs there, but yes, that's generally true.
This question comes up quite a bit. It's in both the thread and in the live chat here. Any plans to implement a sonic boom to atmospheric flight?
So we have talked about this previously, and there are a few barriers to this. Like, Mach 1 is different depending on atmospheric pressures and the type of planet that you're on, and it opens up a lot of questions. But the biggest issue that it opens up is the question of whether you simulate the speed of sound, as in when you see an explosion in the distance, do you hear it seconds later? Which currently isn't the case, and it isn't the case because for gameplay reasons, it's much more important that you know what's going on actually now, and this is again when the important thing is that it's fun to play. So there is a little bit of a barrier there. If you go down the route of talking about sonic booms, then that kind of implies that there is a speed of sound representation too. But that's not necessarily the case, I guess. We could kind of say at a certain speed, as a function of what the atmospheric density is, we could maybe say here, we can provide a sonic boom sound.
Ahora están hablando de si vamos a tener Sonic Boom. El Sonic Boom es cuando pasa un avión, digamos, si ese avión va pues a Mach 1, que es la velocidad del sonido, a Mach 2 sería superior a la velocidad del sonido, evidentemente. Pues cuando pasa el avión hay un sonido después, ¿no? Que viene. Entonces, el tema está si vamos a poder tener eso en el juego. Entonces dice que por razones de gameplay y de jugabilidad es importante que en un videojuego podamos saber lo que está pasando en todo momento. Y que dice que bueno, que a ciertas velocidades técnicamente sería algo posible de hacer. Y que puede que se llegue a ese punto que habría que mirar. Se podría hacer dependiendo de la densidad de la atmósfera, etcétera.
In atmosphere. But yeah, we haven't done it yet, but because it comes up so often, I think we would definitely consider it.
Todavía no lo han hecho, pero definitivamente lo van a considerar, ¿no?
The phrase we will consider.
We would
planning to think about it.
Planning to consider it.
It is the question that comes up every single time we do a show with the audio team. It is the most consistent question. It's been there in the first episode. It will be there in the last episode until it actually happens. It's very much a community desired effect, but
Claro, dice que es una pregunta que se repite cada vez que entra el equipo de audio a hablar en los Star Citizen Lives y que es como un deseo de la comunidad que haya ese Sonic Boom, ¿no?
It's different on every planet. It's still being developed in every planet. They're
Yeah.
still being adjusted. It's the speeds of the craft are still being adjusted. You guys, folks, are about to learn about all the atmospheric flight changes coming in Alpha 3.10, and stuff like that with changes to speeds and stuff like that. There's so much that needs to be considered before we get there. I don't think there's anybody that does.
Que además está comentando de que ahora pues, para la 310 vienen un montón de cambios para el vuelo y que hay muchas cosas que hay que considerar antes de llegar a esa parte, ¿no? Queda mucho todavía por remar.
Visual and physical effects it has as well. If thin plates of glass aren't smashing under the pressure wave and things like that, if trees aren't bending, because of them, then it isn't just audio. There's a impulse thing going on as well.
And if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. So, but yeah, I think the short answer is everybody here wants it just as much as the folks out there want it.
Vale, dice que la respuesta corta para esa pregunta sería que todo el mundo quiere el Sonic Boom, como el de los demás, pero habrá que ver si se puede, ¿no? Y para más adelante.
Noises in space near a space station while in space are simulated by a sound simulator inside your helmet or cockpit. We've mentioned that several times. If you get EMP'd by, say, a hawk, and your sound simulator does your sound simulator go offline with other ship systems? Basically, we have some version of this question several times here, where it's like, okay, if we've got a simulator that simulates a lot of these things because they're necessary for gameplay, and so you can know about this, are there ways to turn it off? There are questions about turning it off voluntarily. There are questions about disabling it through either damage or EMP. What are our thoughts about that?
We haven't had the time to work on this as much as we'd like lately, unfortunately, but yeah.
Pues es una pregunta complicada porque va relacionada con el tema de que, bueno, como sabéis, en el vacío no se transmite el sonido. Entonces, el tema está hablando de qué pasa con el sonido en el espacio, porque supuestamente está el tema de que hay la excusa de que hay una simulación de ese audio dentro de nuestra nave, o dentro del casco, que está simulado el audio dentro del casco. Pero si cuando nosotros recibimos un pulso electromagnético, pues si eso se podría deshabilitar o si podrían dejar una opción de que eso se deshabilitase.
It's definitely something we all want to do. Like, I always think like the coolest thing we could do would be like you're in a dogfight and you can hear everything crystal clear. You can hear where all the enemy ships are. You can hear your ship, what it's doing. And then all of a sudden you take like an unexpected huge hit and it happens to knock out your sound sim module and suddenly everything just folds down to just you in the little cockpit and you just hear everything that is in the cockpit or you're like sat on basically. And then after a few more seconds it slowly comes back up and you're back to the full soundscape. But for that like 4 or 5 seconds it's just you in the little.
Están hablando de que, por ejemplo, que si estás en un dogfight en el espacio, porque de repente recibas una hostia, un golpe, ¿no? en la nave y pues que de repente se deje de escuchar todo y solo puedas, durante unos segundos solo puedes escuchar lo que sería pues el cockpit o imaginar los clics que estás haciendo y demás. Y que luego progresivamente se fuera devolviéndose el sonido a la normalidad.
Cockpit in space, that would just be the coolest thing. Yeah, it needs a bit. Well, we need to. So, like, what the sound of the ships now is pretty much what we'd imagine sound sim on to sound like. Yeah, so everything and all the stuff to do with ship sounds and ship combat sounds is pretty much sound sim on at the moment.
Yeah.
We need to creatively decide what the creative direction is for sound sim off. How far do we take it? What should it sound like? And then, to be honest, that's kind of the biggest barrier.
Oh, shit. Bueno, pues dice que una de las cosas que tienen que hacer es tratar de evaluar el sonido y ver cómo hasta cuán lejos quieren llegar con esto que está comentando de deshabilitar el sonido entre unos segundos y tal, que tienen que crear como nuevos recursos que ahora mismo solo tienen lo que son los sonidos de las naves.
At the moment.
And then, of course, it
No.
needs to be physicalized
Que
into
los
a
sonidos de las
component,
naves que conocemos ahora, ¿no? Que eso tendría que desarrollarlo más adelante, en definitiva.
which is actually
Yeah.
something on the vehicle team. It needs to be physicalized into a component that can be, and then those game systems attached to that, and then make it, puncturable, damageable through external stuff. So
And
it's
there's like game balancing considerations as well. We need to like adjudicate how much the sound helps you in a dogfight. I hope it does. And then we need to make sure that the
Es un tema interesante, ¿no? Porque están diciendo de que necesitan saber qué cantidad de audio estará disponible para que te asista en combate, porque al final el audio es muy importante, ¿no? Vamos a ponerlo en otro tipo de cosas. Cuando escuchamos pasos en el Tarkov o cuando alguien está recargando el arma, sabemos que está jodido, ¿no? Porque si le saltas encima, pues el tipo está recargando. Entonces, ese tipo de cosas, pues tienen que saber, o sea, tienen que decir cuánta cantidad de audio va a servir de ayuda para el jugador y demás. Que también tiene que pensar en, a la hora de llevar lo que sería pues una de las cosas más geniales del espacio, ¿no? El tener sensación de 5 segundos de apagón y ver y escucharte a ti mismo solo con la cabina. Pero que es algo que también tienen que discutir con otros equipos, con los diseñadores de sistemas y los diseñadores de naves.
I guess the impact of having it disabled isn't so great that it actually is a serious disadvantage. Or maybe we want that. I don't know, but that needs to be taken into consideration as well.
Claro, luego el tema de que igual si recibes un impacto y te deshabilitas esos sonidos, que igual es una desventaja demasiado grande, o quizás queramos eso, todavía no sabemos, ¿no? La decisión.
It's similar to how accessibility is handled in computer games. You can have arrows telling you which direction certain sounds are coming from if people are deaf, but if you switch that off, and if you switch that on and you can hear, then it turns the audio off. So you can't have both. So I think this is similar to that.
Yeah. FPS footsteps have been awfully quiet for the AI, regardless of the AI position being correct. Why are they not in sync?
So the short answer there is they're being pulled too aggressively by the code system. So we have to set a limit on them because they're quite a surprisingly expensive part of what we do on the CPU, and we need to kind of limit how many players query the terrain to decide which footstep to play. But that said, we have lots of tech in the pipeline that's going to improve the way that we cull, make it more intelligent culling, because right now it's aggressive but not very intelligent. So yeah, I mean, I agree with the question. I think we don't hear enough of the AI's footsteps, and we are looking at improving that. I have about 3 or 4 tasks on me related to improving that.
Gotcha.
Vale, están hablando del tema de los pasos de la IA, que qué pasa porque no se escuchan bien o porque se escuchan a destiempo, descoordinados. ¿Qué sucede con eso? Y bueno, dice que a la hora de hacer los llamados de audio, que lo que tienen implementado es demasiado agresivo y que no se comporta de una manera inteligente, es decir, no está pulido, ¿ok? Y eso necesita mejorarse. Y bueno, pues de hacer también, decidir qué tipo de pasos quieren que se reproduzcan, quieren que no. O sea, todo eso tienen que llevarlo un paso más allá.
Right now, it's all right. So this is a follow-up question to that. Let's see if we have anything to add to it. Right now, it feels like steps are very generic. Can we expect more detail on the steps based on the terrain the players are walking on? So we just talked about how expensive the steps can be, but is that going to stop us from being able to change the type of steps that we hear?
Not necessarily. So we currently have quite a lot of tech available which describes the surface that we're walking on. We can know the physical properties of it. We can know the render properties of it. And we can relay that to the sound system and play different audio triggers based on what you're walking on. What we think is happening with this question is that maybe the detail's not coming through, because we do have bespoke sounds for all the different surface types. So, I think if people are feeling that they're all sounding very generic, then we're going to look at that and rework it and make sure that the differentiation is really there. because the tech's certainly there to support it. But then beyond that, we also want to improve the options that we have beyond just surface type, material type, physical properties to go to sort of sub properties within a surface. So, for example, if you walk on a metal sheet, it will resonate much more in the center than it will towards the edges because they're screwed down to a physical frame or something.
Que dice que a la hora de... O sea, si vamos a poder tener una mejor calidad a la hora de escuchar las pisadas en diferentes superficies y demás. Y comenta de que la tecnología está disponible, pues tienen las características, las diferentes superficies y parece que eso lo pueden utilizar para diseñar el sonido, pero que también quieren llegar al punto de que si tú, por ejemplo, estás caminando por el centro de una placa metálica, que suene diferente a que si caminas por las esquinas, en el sentido de que si tú estás caminando por el medio, pues tiene una reverberación mayor, ¿no? Eso suena mucho más bestia. Entonces quieren llegar a ese punto.
Like that. So that's our next step for sort of improving the way that footsteps vary.
Y aparte de que si ven que además los sonidos que han creado pues no suenan acorde o no tienen la calidad esa para poder distinguirlos las diferentes superficies y demás, pues que tratarán o sea, se pondrán manos a la obra para tratar de retrabajar esos sonidos, ¿no?
Because varying footsteps is a really important thing. You hear them all the time, and if they always sound the same, it gets fatiguing. So we know how important this is, and we do spend a lot of time on footsteps.
Yeah,
Y dice que sí, que pasan mucho tiempo en las pisadas, ¿no?
So much of this comes down to the mix. It's everybody does their individual efforts for making for making a sound and implementing a sound and programming a systemic system to bring it in and out at certain parts but then at the end of this all, it all comes down to mix, and the mix in a video game is one of the hardest things ever, because in a movie or a TV show where your audience is at all times. So you're mixing for this person right here at this angle, wherever the camera goes, what perspective they're at, so you can change it. But in a game, you never know where the player is going to be, and then there's multiple players, so now you're mixing for multiple things, and it is easily, at least from a layperson on the outside, the mix seems to be the hardest aspect of your job.
And you make a really good point there, Jared, as well, because in games we don't have a director. Like, a director can sit there and look at a scene and say, I want to hear that, and that. I want the focus to be on that, and I don't want to hear anything else. But you'll notice that when you're watching a movie that there are so many things that are seen but not heard. So one of the systems we're working on, which is
en resumen, están hablando sobre el tema de que, claro, de que a la hora de hacer una película es mucho más fácil poder resolver los sonidos, hacer la mezcla para la película de los sonidos. Pues tú tienes una escena predeterminada, sabes lo que va a ocurrir en esa escena, sabes dónde va a estar la cámara, sabes de dónde van a venir los ruidos, los sonidos. Y aparte al añadido, además de que le comenta a Jared, tienes un punto ahí en plan, en el sentido de que, un buen punto en el sentido de que, claro, de que nosotros en las películas tenemos un director aquí, que en plan de quiero que esto suene de tal manera, quiero que aquello suene de esa manera. Ellos no disponen de alguien que los dirija para decir qué es lo que exactamente quieren una escena, ¿no?
way down the line.
Sino que aquí pues pues en un videojuego es totalmente distinto. Son muchas personas pasando, sonidos viniendo de todos los lados, y que es mucho más complicado hacer la mezcla o tomar las decisiones, ¿no? Que en una película.
Is a system to kind of understand what the most important things in a scene are, depending on the game context. So a particular scene will sound very different if you're chasing someone on foot and trying to, get a bounty reward or something, compared with if you're ambiently idling through the same area. You get a very, hopefully we'll be able to make a system where you can get a very different mix in the same sort of very similar circumstances.
Speaking of mix, this wasn't done on
segundo,
purpose.
que está
Are there
importante.
Ambiently idling through I want the focus to be on that.
mixing for your
Yeah,
job
and
there?
you make a really that when you're watching a movie that there are so many things that are seen but not heard. So one of the systems we're working on, which is way down the line, is a system to kind of understand what the most important things in a scene are, depending on the game context. So a particular scene will sound very different if you're chasing someone on foot and trying to, get a bounty reward or something.
Vale, esto me parece una idea de olla gordísima, o sea, es una animalada. A ver, lo que nos están diciendo es que ellos van a tener o sea, están yendo más allá, están diseñando como una especie de sistema para si nosotros, por ejemplo, estamos yendo de cazarrecompensas, pues tengamos una mezcla de sonidos predeterminada como para meternos más en el papel, o sea, hacer una inmersión más bestia, ¿no? En ese sentido. Como un paquete de sonidos distintos, así estamos haciendo otra actividad en un mismo lugar, ¿ok? Se producirán, pues, cosas distintas. Entonces eso es una pasada, porque eso personaliza muchísimo la escena y sí le da esa vidilla que podríamos ver en una peli de que está pasando algo, hay un suspense, hay un tal, o de repente pues estás en una taberna, pues ya no hay ese suspense, hay otra cosa, ¿no? Justo en la misma taberna pueden estar de juerga, o de repente pues puede cambiarlo todo y llegar allí el mandaloriano y empezar a hostias con todo el mundo. Y entonces pues ahí es donde dice que va a cambiar o sea, que están diseñando ese sistema para que el sistema sea capaz de reconocer ese tipo de sucesos y adaptar el sonido a ese tipo de cosas. Eso me parece la hostia.
Compared with if you're ambiently idling through the same area, you get a very, hopefully we'll be able to make a system where you can get a very different mix in the same sort of very similar circumstances.
Speaking of mix, this wasn't done on purpose. Are there plans to support Windows Spatial Sound like Atmos, DTSX, Windows Sonic? Basically, they want to know: are we supporting 5.1, 7.1 mixes?
No, si hay planes para poder soportar pues los diferentes tipos de audio, Dolby Atmos, pues el tema de THX, el Dolby Surround, todas esas historias, si va a haber soporte para eso.
Yes, please.
5.1 and 7.1 are already. Yeah, spatial. It's really interesting, and we're looking at it a lot. We need to work out exactly how we're going to use it, because, the height channels, are we going to use them all the time? Or are we only going to use them in certain contexts when we want the height there? Obviously, without the height channels, you should still know to a certain degree whether it's coming from above you or below you. So, yeah, things like spatial sound is going to help with that, but it shouldn't be the only way of conveying that. But yeah, it is really exciting, and
Yeah.
I'm more excited personally about spatial sound than I am going from stereo to surround. From
Well, they used to
stereo
sell
to
surround as 3D audio, right? But it's not. It's a 2D plane. So now
Yeah.
now 3D audio is actually 3D for the first time. That's cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
I
really
always thought-
important for our game. Our game is 3D degrees of freedom. We can do up is wherever we want up to be, right? So being limited to a flat plane of audio speakers is a limiting factor for us. So yeah, we're absolutely looking at Atmos because it will potentially do a lot for us.
Yeah.
Not just
Vale, pues definitivamente sí. Dice que el sonido espacial es algo que les flipa y que les mola muchísimo y que definitivamente están buscando, están tirándose al Atmos, o sea, que quieren implementar el Atmos en el juego. Eso es una locura. Para mí, o sea, una de las cosas que podéis buscar si queréis es el binaural. El binaural es una burrada porque es con dos auriculares, ¿ok? Uno a la izquierda y otro a la derecha. Digamos que, para resumir esto, nuestra oreja tiene una forma determinada, ¿ok? O sea, lo que es el alveolo de la oreja se llama. Bueno, da igual. La oreja en sí, ¿no? Tiene una forma determinada. ¿Qué pasa? Que nosotros cuando escuchamos un sonido, ¿por qué nosotros sabemos que está detrás o está a izquierda, está arriba, está abajo? ¿Ok? Nuestro cerebro interpreta los sonidos de tal manera de que si nosotros los recibimos por aquí, al tener la forma de la oreja que tenemos, tiene una determinada frecuencia el sonido. Según de qué zona lo escuchemos, va variando esa frecuencia. ¿Qué pasa? Que hoy en día hay sistemas de sonido para videojuegos que son capaces de emular esas distintas frecuencias. ¿Ok? Entonces, nuestro cerebro realmente interpreta que el sonido está detrás. O sea, ya no sería solo el hecho de tener un 5.1 y tener altavoces detrás. No, sería que realmente solo con dos auriculares puedes simular cómo sería la entrada del audio en tu oreja. Y eso hace muchísimo más realista el posicionamiento. Sobre todo por el hecho de que siempre tenemos a los auriculares en la misma posición. Y eso sería la hostia. Si con el Atmos son capaces de implementar eso, o sea, estar en Star Citizen va a ser inmersivo. No, lo siguiente.
Atmos, other 3D sound systems are available.
Yeah, and this person mentioned Windows Spatial Sound, but that's just one example. There are multiple spatial sounds, it's not to tie to a specific platform.
It is a hugely complicated thing to unravel about, like delivery formats and, how you listen to spatial sound and how you author spatial sound.
Are there plans for adding more detailed crash sounds, like hull bucklings, ground scrapes, impact foley, or even sounds for when you dive at the surface of a planet at full speed and you bounce?
Yeah, we definitely need to improve those, but I would be hesitant to put too much work into it until it behaves the way it's supposed to, like the final version of how ships interact with the ground and other objects. It's like a bit. There's only so much you can do with audio. We don't want to do much work until.
Dice que sí va a haber mejoras o va a haber más abanico de sonidos a la hora de pues imaginaros cuando una nave va rozando contra la superficie, ¿no? Dice que sí, que es algo que definitivamente lo que tienen que trabajar, o sea, ofrecer diferentes experiencias de cuando sucede eso, ¿no? Con una nave.
Until the ship stop bouncing.
Yeah, we don't want to fake anything, basically, because the whole philosophy of this game is to simulate everything. And, if we're simulating crumple, then we'll sonify crumple. And if we're simulating, ships scraping along the ground, then we'll sonify that. But right now they're not. So we need that there to offer us those possibilities.
Claro, dice que además la esencia de Star Citizen es simular las cosas y que no haya... que no se haga ninguna trampa para parecer que hay algo, ¿no? Entonces necesitan llegar a que llegar a que avance lo que es el tema de naves y todo para realmente cuando haya cuando una nave se raye contra la superficie, pues que se escuche ese sonido. Pero necesitan que antes la nave pues físicamente se vea que está jodiéndose, ¿no?
Yeah.
One of the recent additions to the game has been weather. We've seen dust storms and everything. This question asks, will we be able to hear atmospheric storms off in the distance so we can prepare before the storm hits?
Yes, I'm just looking at Graham for how we do this.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes down to whether there's a visual effect at distance. So, because that's what we will generally sort of bang our audio off. If there's a distant visual effect, then yes, we can absolutely telegraph an approaching storm. And I would like to think there would be. So I'm going to say tentatively, yeah, we would be doing that.
Vamos a poder ver, vamos a poder escuchar, si vemos una tormenta en la lejanía, vamos a poder escuchar pues ese sonido de la tormenta o de cambios climáticos para poder prepararnos para esa llegada de ese cambio climático. Imaginaros una tormenta en la que no dejes volar naves, pues te piras o te montas en la nave corriendo o directamente pues tratas de buscar una cueva o algo, ¿no? Y pues dice que sí, que definitivamente vamos a tener ese tipo de sensaciones en el juego y se van a implementar ese tipo de audios.
Okay.
We have like sounds for all of the different weather that we have right now, all of the like the snow and microtech and stuff. But yeah, it has to have already reached you before you get it because it's based off if you're inside of the zone of the weather. Yeah, that would be a nice addition to it.
Certainly, we're working on tech that kind of helps us to do things like crowding distant sounds and kind of allowing us to express a distant collection of sounds as a single sound and that kind of thing. So, there's potentially a lot of tech that's, again, down the line, months down the line.
Está diciendo una cosa interesante y es que están estudiando la tecnología que les permita agrupar diversos sonidos que al estar en distancia se transforme en uno solo, ¿no? Sería algo parecido a lo que podemos ver en cómo se van agrupando los detalles que vemos en los planetas a medida que nos vamos alejando, ver cómo se van agrupando las cosas y van perdiendo detalle y se van transformando en algo más en algo más entero y más liviano para nuestro hardware, ¿no?
We could use to achieve that sort of thing.
There's always another hill to conquer. I've seen there's been a focus in the latest patches on atmospheric and reentry effects. So far, there doesn't seem to be much sound variation between flying in atmosphere and in space. I don't know if that's true, but nor during reentry and exit. Is this plan to change soon? So, well, let's take it step by step. Is there a difference in the sounds between flying in space and flying in atmosphere?
Yeah, yeah.
¿Hay alguna diferencia entre volar en atmósfera y volar en el espacio? Yo creo que sí la hay, ¿no? Yo la he notado.
There's definitely a difference. We trigger, so in space, you've just got the sound of we call them ship-wide audio objects, like the sounds of the cockpit kind of whining and humming, and all the thrusters on your ship. And then when you enter any kind of atmosphere, you start, well, actually, you've also got vibration in space, but you don't really hear that unless your ship's quite damaged.
Yeah.
And then when you enter atmosphere, we bring in what we call environment feedback. So this is the sound of the air rushing over the frame of the ship, and that's reactive to how dense the atmosphere is, how fast the ship's going, all that kind of stuff. And the environment feedback also governs, if you're flying through like a snowstorm, you should hear the hail on the windscreen, and so we do have. And if you're on the ground looking up at a ship flying in atmosphere, then it's also different. You get the sort of distant, diffuse sound of the ship ripping through the air. And if you hear a pass by in space, it sounds a lot different, a lot more muffled, a lot more. I think maybe.
Tienen un paquetillo de sonidos, por así decirlo, que se llama el feedback de entorno. Lo que viene siendo es el tema de pues, que a la hora de estar en atmósfera con tu nave vas a sentir como la nave vibra, se escuchan las vibraciones simulando lo que sería el choque o sea, el pasar de la nave por el aire, ¿no? Incluso de una tormenta pues vas a poder escuchar a los copos en el cristal y la lluvia. ¡Ojo! Es que estos tíos o sea, es que Star Citizen es una animalada. Entonces, se escuchará muy distinto a lo que es en el espacio y que también podrás escuchar vibraciones de la nave en el espacio si tienes la nave muy dañada, ¿no? Pero que normalmente esos sonidos están reservados para lo que es la atmósfera.
It really depends at the moment what ship you're flying in atmosphere as to how much difference you hear, because like a lot of the ships that haven't had an audio pass in a long time have this kind of really, really broadband sound design aesthetic to them. Like everything's really, 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 really washy and covers the whole frequency spectrum.
Claro, aquí está diciendo otro detalle importante, es que no todas las naves han sido actualizadas a las nuevas implementaciones de audio, que depende de la nave en la que vayas. Yo por eso os recomiendo que si los que podáis, ¿vale? Farmearos una Gladius in-game, comprarosla in-game y tener esa nave, porque todos los cambios nuevos de audio, de visuales, toditos van primeros en la Gladius. O sea, pillaros una Gladius in-game. Creo que vale 1.118.000, o sea, 1.200.000 creo que la tenéis. Merece la pena. Solo para que podáis probar, podáis daros un paseo ahora mismo por Star Citizen.
Spectrum. It doesn't leave much room for, the slightly more subtle sounds of wind and hail hitting the windscreen and stuff. But some of them ships we've given a pass recently, like what caused quite a stir, the Cutlass Blast thruster redesign, and a few others. A few of the more modern ones, like the Carrack and the Bani de Ferro, they have a lot more of a far less mid-frequency content in the actual ship sound, more bottom end and top end, which frees up the middle, which frees up the mids for these. Hear a lot more of the vibration and the all of the weather sound and wind sound against the ship. Hopefully, that's the plan.
So it sounds like a lot of the sound design for the ships are individual to each ship, and what you're saying is that newer ships have newer techniques, newer features, and maybe some of the older ones could probably stand to get a little more attention.
Yeah.
No, pues definitivo que, pues, dependiendo de la forma de la nave, pues vamos a notar diferentes comportamientos de los sonidos, que cada nave tiene sus sonidos individuales diseñados. Y que las naves nuevas tendrán implementadas las nuevas tecnologías de audio, pero algunas naves antiguas no habrá que hacerles una revisión a ese audio, ¿no? La Gladius aquí sería la excepción, yo os digo, o sea, ahí meten todo.
It's just we kind of figured out what works and what doesn't over time, and some ships unfortunately need to be revisited at some point.
We call that tech debt.
Yeah.
It's like the phrase painting the Humber Bridge. You get to one end, you keep painting a bridge, you get to the other end, and when you finish painting it, you've got to go back to the other end and start again.
Didn't we?
The number of ships that we have.
Right. Didn't we, the last time we did this show, Graham, didn't we, you threatened to go and pull up your tech debt list? Something like that. I don't remember.
I do sort of vaguely remember that, yeah. Let's not do that.
No, we never did see it.
People don't have big enough screens.
Recently on ISC, we saw a number of new creature concepts, like the space whale, the space cow, and the microtech bear. Is that what we're calling? I thought we were just calling it space bear. They're all space. It's space bear, space. Do you provide concept sounds along with the concept art as part of the approval process, or do you wait until the final creatures?
En el tema de todos los sonidos de las criaturas y demás, bueno, aparte que dice que tiene una lista pendiente de los cambios que tiene que hacer en todas las naves y eso, que dice que no parece un buen momento para compartir porque la gente tiene que hacer screenshots, o sea, capturas y claro, pues naves liqueadas, imaginaros el tema. Entonces, el tema que dice que si a la hora de crear las criaturas, los animales que hemos visto, que dice Dijolando que son todas criaturas del espacio, vacas espaciales, osos espaciales, todo espacio, ¿no? Que dice que si trabajan en mano a mano con los desarrolladores de estas criaturas, los artistas de estas criaturas, etcétera, para proporcionarles ese fondo de sonido o realmente pues esperan a que todo esté más terminado.
Design before you begin on audio.
That's an interesting question. I mean, honest answer, this is new ground for us.
Yeah.
So, I think concept artists do have the final say over what's going to happen to the concept. So we don't tend to input to that. And I think that makes sense because the visual really does drive what you think a creature is going to sound like.
It would be really interesting, though, to think about how a future space creature could vocalize and whether there was any physiological specialities to it that means maybe it's got a huge trumpet or something and it might sound trumpety.
Bueno, dice que por ejemplo pues que están diciendo que el tema del diseño de criaturas y demás, que lo suyo es dejárselo a lo que es y la decisión final la tiene el artista del concepto. Pues a la hora de ellos de evaluar qué sonido puede producir esa criatura, necesitan las referencias visuales, utilizan las referencias visuales. Entonces, una vez esté creada la criatura, pues podrán empezar a ver cómo suena. De hecho, comenta aquí, el de la izquierda, el de aquí arriba, comenta que es un tema interesante el pensar cómo podrían sonar o vocalizar las criaturas del futuro. Si, por ejemplo, pues tienes un alien que tiene una trompa enorme, pues esa trompa pues podría ser la voz que sonase pues trompetera, o sea, una cosa muy rara, dicho.
Of course, being able to communicate in vacuum, if it's the whale, or on a planet with thinner atmospheres, stuff like that. I do want to stress that this is obviously referring to the ISC segment that aired, I think it was a week ago now. We are at the beginning of developing this pipeline right now. Right now, it is characters, but part of what's going to happen over the next several months and maybe even longer is that characters will get together with tech animation. We'll get together with the actor status team. We'll get together, with all these other groups and figure out how to make them, because we do not have a pipeline for making creatures. We haven't made creatures yet. So we have to figure out what this new pipeline is and what we can take from the other pipelines that we've built and what needs to be created bespoke. Like just on this, guys, like who makes the sounds? Does the sound...
Dice que todo lo que es el tema de criaturas, que tengamos en cuenta que todavía está en proceso de desarrollo, que ni siquiera tienen la línea de trabajo hecha. Que están pensando cómo hacer esa línea de trabajo, o sea que es un poco pronto para hablar de de sistemas todavía.
Sound of a creature fall under dialogue? Is that going to be Bob going out there and recording different animals to combine it, or is it going to be the realm of a tech designer who's got to go out there and simulate something from scratch or something? Those are the kind of things that we still need to figure out as we build that pipeline up.
Claro, o sea, por ejemplo, el decir si vamos a grabar varios sonidos animales y combinarlos o vamos a crear un sonido desde la nada. Que son cosas que todavía tienen que averiguar, que es pronto para comentar al respecto.
Personally, I'm hoping that we send Bob into as many dangerous areas as possible with a microphone.
I would like to say though, it does cover a very similar ground when we consider behavior and how as a dialogue team we do try and back and work with design and narrative on the behavior templates and things like that. So I would like to think we would have at least some collaboration there to figure out what they would do, how they would go about their day, attacking, hunting, or just milling about. So those things really, the behavior and the sounds, those can really go hand in hand. Yeah, I would like to see that this becomes a collaboration just like it has been with dialogue. So
here's a question that probably applies to.
Bueno, dice que le gustaría ver que fuese una colaboración entre pues la gente que hace los sistemas y demás, que fuese una colaboración entre varias personas, igual que han hecho con el diálogo para recoger todos estos sonidos. Me estaban bromeando con enviar a compañeros suyos a visitar animales peligrosos con micrófono.
Every show, but surprisingly, it doesn't get asked very often. How much has the current pandemic lockdown affected your work? Like, for example, recording dialogue or effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, firstly, I would like to give a hats off to CIG because as I've seen a lot of other companies and a lot of industries and different from friends and family and other colleagues, CIG really, we transitioned in like a week. Like it was just simple, easy peasy. Everyone.
Dice que tiene que darle crédito porque le están preguntando cómo ha afectado el tema de la pandemia a lo que es el trabajo en Cloud Imperium Games, a su trabajo. Y ha dicho que con respecto a otras empresas que ha podido pues tener constancia por tema de amigos o familia, que hay que reconocer el mérito de Cloud Imperium Games a la hora de poder hacer esa transición en simplemente una semana. Tan simple como eso, una semana.
Went home and stayed home and stayed safe and saved lives.
Not to say there weren't issues, but it was easier than I think we anticipated. Yeah.
Yes,
there
exactly.
are still issues, and we covered those in ISC with the data transfer rates and stuff like that. But
claro, dice que todavía sigue habiendo problemas por tema de transferencia de datos y demás, pero que ha sido una transición bastante más fácil de lo que parecía. El hecho de ponerse a trabajar en casa y que sobre todo priorizaran el bienestar de sus trabajadores, ¿no? Ante todo.
Yeah. But also, I mean, yeah, this is a very good question specifically for our team because, being audio professionals, we really do rely heavily on our offices and our sound pods to be able to effectively do our work. And so it's been just a really, it's like one of those things where you don't know you could do something unless you go out and actually do it. And I didn't know that we would be able to do this until we just went home and just did it. And we've worked around the solutions, a lot of issues with our rooms, like everyone's different room. We've been solving it through software and having to work on headphones a lot and things like that, and just making it work and still churning out really good high quality content. So just hats off to the team for everyone, working really hard and just making it happen. As far as dialogue stuff goes, I mean, obviously we've had to put a hold on any performance capture, things that require a group of people working together in a shared confined space, right? But we have been carrying on VO sessions. I mean, we did record some Theaters of War dialogue where it was actually quite astonishing to have like our director and myself and the studio and then the artist all in different locations.
Vale, está diciendo de que le están preguntando de que, claro, a la hora de trabajar en tema de audio, diálogos y poder hacer demás historias, que evidentemente en lo que es Cloud Imperium Games tenían como un una habitación dedicada a lo que es el audio, con todos los instrumentos, lo necesario, aislamiento, etcétera, y que han tenido que adaptar eso en sus casas, ¿no? Que es lo que vemos aquí, estos paneles y todo eso que vemos en la habitación de este tipo, pues en definitiva es eso, haber adaptado una habitación para poder dedicarla a un espacio de trabajo. Y comenta de que, bueno, de que realmente no sabes hasta dónde puedes llegar con algo hasta que lo intentas, y es el hecho de que realmente han podido resolver bastante bien ahora muchas cosas desde donde están, y un ejemplo de ello es el audio que han grabado, los diálogos que han grabado para Theatres of War y para los teatros de guerra, el TOW, ¿no? Que es, bueno, para quien no lo conozca, es esa batalla tipo Battlefield que va a venir en breves para el Star Citizen. Y bueno, comenta que fue realmente peculiar el hecho de poder estar con el director y con otras personas haciéndolo todo en diferentes ubicaciones, ¿no?
Working together, listening at the same time around the globe, putting together, recording some dialogue. So, and also we did do some office talent. So like you I don't know if maybe you might recognize Phil and Darren's voice in the Fleet Week PA and adverts and stuff. So there's a little bit of in-house stuff going there. But
I didn't catch Darren, but I caught Phil.
Darren was in the Drake, the adjacent room.
Darren's telephone voice is very different to his normal everyday voice.
Yes. I do want to point out the irony of having the primary speaker on our work from home question be the one person who's sitting in his office.
That's
work.
true. Well, to speak as a programmer, the whole lockdown pandemic thing has been perfect for me, because anything that minimizes social interaction is fine by me.
Yes, programmers socially
I'm quite a
distancing
social
since
programmer.
1963. Yeah. I hear you. Not much of a change on my end. Let's see what else we got. Can we get cool ship voices like Mother in Alien? The emergency destruct system has been activated. They want more ship voices, Bob.
Yes, yeah.
Podemos obtener más voces geniales de naves, como la de Madre en la película de Alien, o sea, que haya otro registro de voces o más registro de voces en las
Yes,
naves.
we actually we have been doing a really big think on ship design, and I can't say too much yet because it's going to be a pretty monumental shift. But one of the things that we've really been finding difficult is, we have a lot of manufacturers, right? And if you consider each one being an actor that we cast, and we go and record, like let's say, for example, just 8-10 actors. And we want to incrementally improve our ship computers, then we want to go back and, pick these guys up and record 5 more lines for 10 different people. The costs rack up rather quickly, and it's just astronomical. It's not something that's really feasible and achievable, really. So we've been really trying to look hard and looking at this for a long time of just, very humanistic, voices that we can, actually go and capture an actor and drive their voice with text to speech, and to be able to create a lot more computer voices, a lot more things that they can say, a lot more reasons for them to exist, than just being, your bitch and Betty. Am I allowed to say that? Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I haven't really told that in a long time.
Yeah.
Él está hablando de como que a la hora de que entiendo de que a la hora de de contratar diferentes actores para poder grabar las diferentes marcas que hay, los fabricantes que hay de las marcas, que con que grabar como 8 actores o así, pues por marca, pues que sería que es lo que está, o sea, que es lo que han hecho, ¿no? Que podrían grabar a más, pero que el aumento del coste pues sería astronómico en ese sentido, de grabar a más actores para todas las naves. Entonces que tratan de como hacer una especie de grabaciones de diálogo técnico de varios actores. Van a tratar de hacer como grabaciones de diálogo técnico de varios actores, y de esa forma pues modificarlo, y además también aumentar lo que es las maneras en las que la nave nos habla, para tratar de justificar un poco más el por qué hay esa voz en las naves, y no solo simplemente que sea pues una frase que te diga y ya está, ¿no? Sino justificar más la aparición de esa voz de una supuesta inteligencia artificial en la nave.
I know.
That's
But
old school.
yeah, very old school.
So
But you know, it's that's the idea though. Is we want to step away from that. I know there's some lore in there that we don't have AI or as far as like that, you know, think for yourself kind of computer, but that doesn't mean that they can't be fun and engaging and help you with your missions or the type of style gameplay that you like to do, or there's a lot that I would like to talk about, but I just don't want to hint too much at it. But the idea is there. We know we have a problem to solve,
right.
and it's in the pipeline.
Está comentando de que sí, que sabemos que según el lore y todo eso, que no hay inteligencia artificial, que todo tienes que hacerlo tú mismo y demás. O sea, que no hay inteligencia artificial elaborada, ¿no? Digamos, no hay robots, ¿ok? Con autonomía, por así decirlo, con vida propia, por así decirlo. O sea, no vamos a encontrar un comandante data, ¿vale? En Star Citizen. Entonces está diciendo de que aunque no se pueda llegar a ese punto, que sí dar como una personalidad un poco más allá a la inteligencia de las naves, en el sentido de que te puedan ayudar un poco en las misiones o puedan darte algún tipo de conversación, incluso que sean divertidos, para tratar de tener la experiencia de juego que queremos tener. Parece que es lo que comenta.
You're afraid to say it, but I'm willing to say it. Gilbert Gottfried is being recorded as a ship GPS, and he will just berate you the entire time for making poor decisions. I told you Lorville was that way. Where are you going? No, I can't do a Gilbert Gottfried impersonation, but think about it, Bob. To what extent will dialogue on mission givers be worked on?
No, estaba diciendo que no quería hablar más sobre el tema porque era algo que tenían que pensar y no quiero tirar demasiado afuera ahora mismo. Hay que pensarlo más, ¿no? Y bueno, el Discord salió con un tema, una broma interna sobre compañeros, sobre la posición de Lorville. Nada relevante.
Are there, for example, plans to do more than one dialogue for a specific type of mission?
Yes, please. This has frustrated me for a little while, but I completely understand it. I mean, there is the whole point of as I mentioned before with the background voices and things like that, subsumption, AI, we really have to learn to crawl and do the basics. And that's the same with the mission givers. These are first passes at the mission givers, trying to proof out, the concept of them and how the player should interact with them. We've recorded a lot of this content. There's so much content. I mean, I would say it's like this much content and maybe this much of it has animation in the game and maybe this much has behavior put to it. So,
vale, lo que acabáis de ver con las manos que acaba de decir, bueno, que dice que ahora mismo hay este contenido como pregrabado, digamos, para poder hacer, porque están haciendo la pregunta si va a haber variaciones en los diálogos para el mismo tipo de misión. Y comenta que sí, que de hecho hay más diálogos para lo que serían los empleadores, los mission givers, y que digamos que ahora pues sería solo un primer pase que le han dado, ¿no? Y que lo que tendríamos pues de todo lo que hay, que sería esto, pues como que realmente de audio hay esto de aquí. O sea, que queda todo el cacho. O sea, que queda un montón de cosas por meter.
So it just
You mean
to
for the
give you an
mission
idea,
givers?
there's a lot of stuff in there, and we're just trying to get at least one variation in there just to prove that this interaction works, and then we can go in and really engage it. And we predicted a lot, but there's not to say that there's a lot of holes or things missing. We don't know yet because we're putting it together, we're getting it in there, and then we can look at what the game experience is and then iterate it, make it better, take the feedback from you guys, from our team, the play tests, how we all do it. We iterate, and that's the concept here. So what you guys are seeing is a base level implementation. Once the AI matures and things get better, don't worry, we have replayability in mind.
Vale, luego dice que, bueno, comenta aquí ahora mismo que no nos preocupemos, que esto sería una iteración básica, que una vez que la inteligencia artificial madure, pues tenemos la rejugabilidad en mente, ¿no? O sea, que es algo que sí que va a haber bastante variedad y bastantes cosas que estemos tranquilos, ¿no? que primero además van a ir probando pues cómo funciona pues metiéndole un cambio a tal, luego pues a medida que veamos que ese cambio funciona pues ampliar más y más y más. O sea que vamos a poder tener una alta rejugabilidad.
So it will get better. Don't worry.
Okay. We are almost at the end of the show, so we'll see how many of these we can squeeze in before we run out of time here. What can you tell us about the status of sound occlusion in the game?
I've just been scheduling some work for the next quarter, and the way occlusion is working is going to change massively. As part of that, we have some work that I've done that enables audio to propagate correctly through portals and through rooms and things like that, and to accumulate reverbs as it goes through them and that kind of thing. But it's being kind of on a little stumbling block where we need some extra tech in the game's room system. So for a while, we were kind of trying to figure out how that's going to schedule in, and we've decided that, rather than waiting on it any longer, I'm going to do this work, which isn't strictly audio work, but it's stuff that benefits us greatly. So it's getting scheduled in right now, and occlusion will be much more systemic and will make a lot more sense than it currently does. So you'll be able to get a lot more of a sense, not just of the direction as the crow flies that a sound is coming from, but where you're actually hearing it from, and you'd be able to follow that sound and find the object that's making that sound or the actor that's...
¿Cuál sería el estado actual de la oclusión del sonido? La oclusión del sonido parece que se refiere a pues la propagación o los focos de audio en general, o sea, los comportamientos del sonido, de las ondas del sonido. Entonces, lo que dice es que está trabajando en el tema de cómo se propaga el sonido por las superficies, las diferentes habitaciones, la acumulación de reverberación en cuevas o cavidades, ¿no? Entonces, que dice que es un trabajo que no tenía que no le correspondería a él supuestamente en apartado técnico, pero que lo está haciendo igualmente porque cree que es buena idea que lo haga él. Y aparte de eso, que en el futuro vamos a ser capaces de distinguir de dónde viene un sonido, incluso seguirle la pista a un sonido hasta encontrar el foco, en el caso de que estemos pues siguiendo una ruta o algo similar.
Making that sound. So yeah, it's coming, and it's just a case of how long it takes me to do it.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on using directional sound in ship cockpits to indicate incoming missile fire?
Yeah,
See a lot of nods. See a lot of nods on that one.
The Atmos thing is a good opportunity to test out how this works. It may be a good sort of first use case for that sort of thing. We have all the information
in ship cockpits to indicate
systemic, and we'll make a lot and find the object that's making that sound or the actor that's making it.
See a lot of nods. See a lot of nods on that one.
The Atmos thing is a good opportunity to test out how this works. It's just a case.
Plans to add background radio noise like NPC chatter around planets, ports, landing zones.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
A ver, un segundo.
Thing is a good opportunity.
Cago la leche.
Coming from, but it's getting scheduled in right now. The game's room system. So.
Cago la leche.
I've just been scheduling some work.
How we all do it. We iterate. I'm a
La madre que me parió, no lo encuentro.
What can you tell us about the status of sound occlusion in the game?
Vale, sound occlusion, ahí está.
Some work that I've done. For a while, we were kind of trying.
Missile fire.
Vale, veremos sonido direccional, por fin, sonido direccional en las cabinas, o sea, tendremos la sensación de sonido direccional en las cabinas para saber de dónde viene un misil.
Yeah,
See a lot of nods.
Sí, lo
See a lot of nods on that one.
Sí, lo tendremos.
The Atmos thing is a good opportunity to test out how this works. It may be a good sort of first use case for that sort of thing. We have all the information we need. It's just a case of how do we express it in a way that's easily understood by the player.
Okay. Any plans to add background radio noise like NPC chatter around planets, ports, landing zones?
Oh yeah.
Like that.
planes para añadir sonido de fondo en los puertos espaciales, ciudades, todo eso.
But yeah, that just goes back to the previous talking points there. I mean, we really want to feel that you can hear other people use the ATC. That you're when you approach a landing zone, you're hearing other chatter with the ATC. We also want to throw in, and this goes back to needing these real humanistic voices to be able to produce this much amount of content, because these kind of things, these background chatters and being able to list out weather or what the loss system is on a certain planet, or what are just things going on, current events or things like that. That's all needs to be done with a voice that can be rendered to text, so that we're not constantly recording assets, and that's all I do every day is record assets. But the answer is yes, there's going to be a lot of that coming around when the systems are available, but it's definitely in our thoughts.
Vale, dice que todo el tema de, bueno, habla un poco sobre que quieren la posibilidad de que cuando nosotros vayamos a un puerto espacial pues podamos escuchar a otras personas hablando con el ATC, que van a tratar de traer más voces humanas, humanas al juego, pero necesitan tener una voz que puedan poner en un registro de tal manera que puedan utilizar esa voz sin necesidad de un actor, sino que puedan modificar mediante texto y que esa voz luego se reproduzca. O sea, puedan poner ellos el texto que quieran sin necesidad de estar todo el rato grabando las voces de la gente, que es algo de lo que está haciendo ahora mismo constantemente, por lo visto. Y que ahora mismo no tienen la tecnología para hacer todo eso, pero que pues está en sus mentes el poder lograr ese objetivo.
In our plans.
Okay. What's the most important piece of audio equipment you use to develop Star Citizen?
Yes.
Yes.
Vale, ¿cuál es la pieza de equipamiento más importante que utilizáis para desarrollar Star Citizen? Y señala la cabeza, el cerebro, ¿no? Buena
Your hair?
respuesta.
That gets in the way. Bob's got a slightly muffled representation of the soundscape.
Anybody else?
I think for dialogue, I can say real quick, Isotope is amazing. We love that piece of gear. And also in sound design.
Dice que para diálogo es una movida que se llama Isotope, que dice que es algo bastante bueno, esa pieza de hardware.
Use that a lot of places. It's a great way to clean up and make things sound nice and pristine and beautiful.
Bueno, no sé si es un hardware o software, Dicen que es algo que utilizan en general y que parece que puede que sea software porque dice que es algo que utilizan para que se escuche todo limpio, para limpiar todo y se escuche increíble, ¿no?
And to go artsy-fartsy about it, it's genuinely thinking about why we're doing things rather than how we're doing things is, I'd say, more important than any technology or anything like that.
Okay.
Dice Kit que es más importante más que cómo hacemos las cosas, por qué las hacemos, ¿no? Que sería una pieza mucho más importante ahora mismo para su trabajo. O sea, por la pasión que tienen en general por el proyecto ellos también como trabajadores.
And what future sound designs are you most excited about implementing?
Aliens.
¿Qué futuros sonidos estáis más, o sea, qué sonidos del futuro os llaman más la atención para implementar? Y dice aliens.
I'm really looking forward to the propagation stuff that Graham's working on. That will be, really, really exciting, and
el tema de la propagación en la que están trabajando, que es algo que es algo por lo que está bastante entusiasmado.
It's not sound design, but it's audio.
Yeah, and the sound of ships with sound sim off will be a huge group effort. Yeah.
Right.
Los sonidos de naves que van a ser algo que venga que es algo que viene con el trabajo en equipo, que es algo que están esperando también, los sonidos de las futuras naves o mejorar los sonidos de las naves.
Due to server object container streaming.
Doesn't exist. The spoon doesn't exist.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, guys. I was expecting somebody to say, "Is there a Jira for it?"
That's true. That's true.
Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time out of the end of your week. I know it's Friday. I know it's the end of your day. You're ready to. Well, I was gonna say you're ready to go home, but maybe that's just Bob. Thanks so much. It's always a pleasure for me to have the audio guys on. You know, audio
Enseñando el whiskazo ahí.
is an aspect that's close to my heart, given my own personal history. So, thank you so much for being here with us. For everybody watching at home, as normal as is the normal now, we are going to throw the host to another Star Citizen streamer who is broadcasting on Twitch right now. I am told today's streamer is Derkuma. I'm told he is a smart, calm, friendly streamer that lives to talk with his audience about Star Citizen while doing some trade missions. And I want to add on a personal note that as someone who took several years of German in high school and has visited the country of its origin more than a dozen times, I can tell you that Der Kuma, translated to English, means the Kuma. Okay, that didn't go as well as I thought. Anyway, for Star Citizen Live, that's Kit, that's Graham, that's Josh, that's Bob. I'm Jared. We'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bueno, pues eso es todo. Van a hacer como siempre el hecho de pasarle los viegos a un streamer y listo. Y ahí estuvo. Bueno, pues este ha sido el Star Citizen Live de la semana relacionado con el audio. Espero que os haya molado. Daros las gracias por el apoyo. Acordaros de que si tenéis Amazon Prime podéis vincularlo con Twitch Prime y suscribiros gratis al canal y ayudarme a crecer y a tener mejores sorteillos. Y en un ratito nos vemos en Star Citizen. Hasta ahora.